Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Jaclyn Hill palette, and to see how I got this look, continue watching. So yeah, like I absolutely like that she has her own company on here. I think that really does her justice when it comes to really putting her company out there, and Morphe was willing enough to put her actual company logo on there. It actually looks really nice, and it's so Jaclyn Hill. This screams Jaclyn Hill. The packaging on it, just the white and the silver, it's everything that she has ever created. That's her brand, but I kind of wish this time it was black. Like I've always said, black is just more discreet. It doesn't have too much going on where it's hard to clean. I like Morphe's old packaging, like when it was just that tacky, almost like rough surfaced palette. It was like really, I call it like lunchbox almost, is what I used to call it when it first came out. It's very lunchboxy at the top, but you wipe it away and it's gone. Like it doesn't leave that tacky, you know, ness on it where all the makeup is getting on it and it's hard to wipe away, which I found hard in Jaclyn Hill's first palette. But in this one, I've seen that she made some improvements. Another thing is I wish that it had a mirror. I think everybody is over the fact that we're getting these really big palettes and just having no mirror in it, and I believe that that's something that they just need to work on, maybe, because every time I get one of these, I'm like, I'm gonna travel with this, I'm gonna go, you know, on vacation, and I can't wait to wear it, and I can't wait to, you know, utilize it. But whenever I find myself in a jam trying to get ready, you know, maybe it's a girls trip, there's 10 of us, there's 2 bathrooms, I'm like trying to figure out where to go for a mirror, and I have to pull out another mirror to use this palette. And I just wish it was already right there. It would be so much easier to get ready, but once again, not our problem anymore, I guess. Like Morphe just doesn't want to do it. But I noticed in her Vault collection that she had the little mirrors, and it was just better. I found that to be really cute. Like I was like, these are mini, they're cute, they have mirrors on it. I feel like we have money in the budget now though, y'all. We have money in the budget now to put some mirrors in these palettes. Why aren't we doing it? I don't understand. I don't understand. Thoughts for later. Don't know. Another thing about this is these colors are very pigmented, but I find that it has to be buildable. You don't just get one swatch on there and it's like absolutely there 100%. It's not there though either, so like don't get me wrong, it's very pigmented on the finger, but then when you swipe it, it just kind of, it's there, but I feel like this yellow, especially when you rub it in, so like it's like, say I blend it out, it's not as vibrant, and that's okay. It's not, yellows are hard, purples, all that stuff is like hard, reds, whatever, but you do have to build it up at this point. Just, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, you just have to build it up. But I absolutely love the way the colors come together. They're easy to blend, they're very easy to pick up on the brushes. They haven't stained my lid. A lot of people have had problems with certain colors staining, but I haven't had that problem, so I'm not for sure if that's just what the products that they're using on their eyes. I'm not for sure, but you know, I don't know. But for me, I haven't had a problem with stainage on my eye. This palette for me is probably an 8 out of 10. I absolutely love the story behind this palette. And Jaclyn Hill quoted before that this was like the hotter older sister of the palette, and that's kind of what it's given me, like the fun older sister that, you know, is out there and wild, and aka me. So I feel like this should have been the very first palette that came out with Morphe and Jaclyn Hill's collection. But you know, everyone has their own timeline, their own storyline about when things come out, and you know, no rush or anything. But I personally would have liked to see this come out first. And that's about it, really. I kind of feel like this palette was everything and more that everyone hyped up for it to be, but I feel like a lot of people were just skeptical coming into it. No one knew exactly what to expect, just because her lipsticks kind of had a real big weird controversy going on. Her highlighters had this weird controversy coming on, and then her Vault collection, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on that. Like, I absolutely was mad about that whole collection. I feel like I spent my hard-earned money on that palette, and I was really disappointed. And I just remember the way I felt about that palette and the hype around these vault palettes, and then just the downfall that came with it. Just, there was so much going on. It was very rushed. It wasn't planned out correctly, and I feel like this palette, she definitely took in consideration of all. This is just like the comeback of all comebacks. I feel like Jaclyn Hill was like, don't y'all play with my name no more.
Stop playing with my name.
Because I know how to make a palette. So she came in correct with that palette. So I'm excited for her and her journey. I'm excited that she's back, you know, doing videos, and I support her. I support her company. I want nothing but success for her because she's just been through so much. And in the beauty community, I mean, I'm not 100% a part of the beauty community, but I'm just starting out and just looking up to her, being an influencer. I absolutely understand that there's so much that we don't know that goes on and behind the scenes of making your own palette or creating and collabing with other people. So it just is an eye-opener that we're all human. We make mistakes. People lie. People try to diffuse situations just to not make themselves look as bad. But, you know, it happens. And long story short, I support her. I support this palette. I think you guys should go out and get it if you're really interested and curious about it. It's something that's going to be really useful in the summer. So go out and get it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Pro Filter powder in this shade Honey, and I'm just going to go underneath my eyes to set my eyes for a second. I've been gone for a little bit. Honestly, it's just been a week. Who am I? No one cares. But anyway, yeah, I've just been gone for a week, just trying to like clear my mind, trying to get through midterms that are going on at my school for grad school. Yeah, I've just been a busy gal, so I'm glad to be back filming videos, of course. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and just stamp it underneath my eyes. And like I said, I'm gonna be reviewing this Jaclyn Hill palette. Like, oh my gosh, this busted galore palette that everybody is either hated or loved. Personally, we're gonna get into that in a second. I've been gone for a weekend, like, feel like I don't even know how to do makeup. Like, this is ridiculous. All right, here we go. All right, yeah, I think that's pretty much set. So like I said before, there was a lot of controversy around this palette. People were saying it is an expired palette, that it is a palette that isn't as pigmented. People are just like, it's going all over the place, coming from left field about this palette. And honestly, this palette to me has a beautiful color story. Like, look at it, and it's already busted galore because I've literally used it and dropped it and abused it and all that. But it's actually a really nice palette. It has a really nice color story. The only thing I wish is that it came with a mirror, because like, why don't we do that? Like, I feel like Jaclyn needs to do better with that. Like, why don't we have mirrors into, you did it with your little Vault collection and that was a bust. Like, that was busted and disgusted. Like, that whole palette series, I don't even know what I did with it. I think I gave it away because I was so mad about it. I was like, I just spent my hard-earned coins on these raggedy ass palettes and they don't even show up. There's no pigment. They're like, the only thing I think I liked was the Bling Boss one. The Bling Boss one. I don't even know. That's the one that I decided that I liked, and so I kept. But everything else was super patchy. Patchy the house. Didn't like it. Was done with it. And so that's why I'm testing this one. And I feel like everyone's already done like 50,000 reviews on this palette. But personally, I feel like there's so many opinions like all across the board that it's hard to decide whether you really want it or not. Especially if you're a Jaclyn Hill fan. I've been a Jaclyn Hill fan for years now, and part of me just kind of, the hype went down a little bit. I feel like there was just a lot going on with her, a lot going on with her personal life that is none of our business, but just happy to see that she's back in the makeup game, trying to create these looks and these palettes. But I think it's just really funny how all of a sudden, like, we haven't heard from her for months, then all of a sudden she's back. She dropped a damn palette. We're all running to get this palette. I'm in the bathroom, about to get fired probably, because I'm in the bathroom. I'm like waiting on this palette. This palette took me probably 35 minutes to just purchase because it just kept going in and out of my cart. There's a lot of just hold on, hang tight situations going on. I'm trying to fill it out. I thought I was ahead of the game paying through PayPal. No, like it did not. It took like 35 minutes, almost to like 40 minutes to get this palette. And then I remember feeling like, oh, okay, I got this palette, and thought it was like one of those things where it was gonna sell out real fast. But then I realized that this palette did not sell out as quick. And I kind of understand why. Like there's so many things that Jaclyn Hill has had occur that has flopped, and I think a lot of people just have found out that to them it's not worth it. Like we don't know if this product is going to be a highly anticipated worth it palette, because the last 2 launches she has came out with have just been completely ridiculous, and there's complications, and it's always something to do with the factory, and there's always like she's got this big crying, like you know how the YouTubers do, like it's like their face or crying,
Save me for the woman that I am.
and then they have that story of why this didn't go the way it does, instead of just owning up and just saying, hey, I didn't have my P's and Q's together. And that's okay. Like we're all human, we find out different things in businesses and industries, so it's okay to like not have it all together, but also just be honest about it. And at the end of the day, I think that's really what it comes down to, is just not being honest. That's why a lot of people don't know if they want to buy this palette. But anyway, I'm getting into the logistics of everything. Let me bring it down a notch and give the people what they want. So I'm already kind of looking to go for a springtime look. I'm very much interested into springtime. I'm so sick of winter. I'm tired of it. She's gone. She's dead. We don't need her anymore. We don't know her.
I don't know who this man is.
I'm trying to move on. So I'm getting very springtime vibes. So I'm going to make this look more springtime because I want it. I want spring so bad. So I'm going to go ahead and take No Joke, and I'm going to pop that on the inner corner. Let me just make sure, because sometimes I rush the dry down situation on the lids. I'm just so anxious. I'm like, let's get this over with. Alright. So I'm going to pop that in the inner corner. That already looks crazy. Let me zoom in some more. So far, I mean, that's kind of doing what I needed to do. I just think I need like a smaller little brush. You gotta pop it in to pop that on the inner corner. So I'm gonna take it and I'm just gonna kind of do that inner corner part and make that look really nice. But I feel like it's not as vibrant as I thought it was gonna be. Like I feel like when I pick it up, it looks really bright, but then when I put it on the eye, I'm like, where is that color payoff? And I feel like this is maybe like a buildable moment. It's buildable. So we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, like I see it, but I feel like it's not wowing me like I need it to. So then I'm gonna go to the outer corner right here, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna blend the outer corner, but I want to leave like the lid part open because I want it to have like maybe a pop of pink or something in there. But yeah, I'm just gonna build it on the outside. And so far, I mean, it is pretty, you know, yellow. I mean, it's your typical yellow. Some people hit or miss on the yellow game, and I mean, this one isn't that bad. This yellow is pretty, it's pretty up there, but it's not like the brightest yellow that I've ever seen. So conflict, right? So I'm gonna go in with my JH33 blender brush. All right, so I'm gonna go in with Lolly Mama, which is this really bright pink. I absolutely love it. It's almost like hot pink, but but not really, because Tipsy Girl is like pretty hot pink. So this one's a stage darker than that one. But yeah, I'm gonna put that on the lid part. So I'm gonna put that in the middle. But so far, it's blending out pretty good. I personally like it. And like I said, I think it's pretty blendable. So I probably will take that over a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's different. Like I said, I'm starting to play with colors on my channel. I normally don't do a lot of colors on this channel. Normally it's always about like browns and neutral colors. So I'm learning about colors and creating these looks as I go along. It's not something that I've always done my whole entire life. I've very much been very shy of colors. But this year in 2020, we decided we were going to do better. So that's exactly what I'm gonna try to do. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of that yellow and kind of define that a little bit. But yeah, so far, I mean, so far it looks pretty good. But I just want to take a little bit of that pink and just blend it kind of all the way through, to just get more like seamless with it. But yeah, I kind of like that. So far the pigment is there, but I've noticed like you will have to go in a couple of times. Like it's not something that's just gonna punch and like hit the very first time. You definitely have to either pack it a lot on your brush, or you definitely have to make sure that you layer it a little bit to make it stand out. And a lot of this has to do with probably like the primer that you use. I know the P. Louise paint pot, like that stuff is good. But yeah, I just used a concealer. So this is already showing up pretty good with just the fact that it's a concealer. So then I can only imagine when you really use our actual eye primer, it'll probably look good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one off camera, and then I'll finish up my look. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about my opinions about this palette. Alright, so I took a little bit of the orange in this palette, the Filling Myself, and I just kind of blended those in together, and I like it. It kind of reminds me of a little sunset, so definitely giving me those springtime vibes that I said I wanted. And so far for this palette, I can say that it is a buildable, blendable palette. At first, it kind of feels like it needs a little bit but you just gotta keep building it, and that's with all of Morphe's palettes. This is definitely a different formula though, because I find most of the Morphe palettes that I use, it can typically be ashy on me or not show up, but this palette is more creamy, and it's definitely the Jaclyn Hill standard formula that we found in her first palette. It is beautiful. I do want to brighten this up, or like highlight this up a little bit. So I think I'm going to take, it's either Talia or, Flawed and Awed. But I think I'm going to do Talia. And I'm going to hit those inner corners real quick. And this is just to give it a little bit of highlight. I'm very curious about how these pressed glitters are going to come through on camera. But I feel like this is something that I need to do with my like fingers. So I'm going to go in with my finger here, and I'm just going to dip into Talia, which is this beautiful gold. Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm just going to hit that inner corner of my eye. Yeah, like that did it. Over top of that yellow, like that's pretty, actually. That is really pretty. Like, I feel like that changed what the look I was going for. That definitely umped it up a little bit. So I'm going to take Talia again and hit that inner corner right there and just clean that up a little bit. But yeah, that definitely just, I feel like elevated this whole look. So I feel like the yellow is pretty subtle on me. I don't know why. I feel like I did exactly what I needed to do. But anyway, now I'm going to finish the rest of my look. And then I'll give you a little bit of my opinions about this palette. Alright, so I'm definitely going to do probably Lolly Mama underneath my eye. Or I was thinking maybe a purple. That would be cute. I don't know. I'm definitely going to wet my brush though, whichever one I dip into. Because you definitely want to have some color pay off. Especially when you're going underneath the eye. So I think I'm going to go in with... I think I just want to go in with Lolly Mama. Just let's keep it pink. Let's keep it fun. And look at that. I really hope it pays off underneath the eyes though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's getting there. That is pretty. So yeah, just keep like blending it. Yeah, that is cute. I like that. That is definitely different. This is very much not something I do every day. So this is going to be wild, but I'm here for it. So yeah, like that is cute. I'm all in at this point. There's no turning back. So yeah, I'm just going to keep my fluffer brush and I'm really gonna just pack that underneath the eye. I like the story this is telling. I very much couldn't get my hands on that Sailor Moon collection and I'm a little bit salty about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to go on this rant real quick because I feel like ColourPop tried to play all of us last week on that whole situation. Like, actually it was like 2 weeks ago. But still, like, why don't we have enough time to get this? You knew the Sailor Moon collection was about to be up and popping. Like,
Dumb. You are really dumb.
why did you have like a limited amount of product to dish out for the people that were trying to get it? Oh, I'm so upset. I felt like so betrayed. I was like, ColourPop, what are you doing? Like, we were rooting for you.
Rooting for you! We were all rooting for you!
Especially with the Sailor Moon collection. I felt like this is just like, it was a flop. Especially because not many people could get their hands on it and everybody was like freaking out about it. It was only shipping to certain countries. Like, it was just nuts. That whole collection thing was just nuts. And I just cannot believe that nobody could get it. And then when they do have it, we're not even guaranteed that it's going to come out again. So I'm just slightly salty about that, actually. So this is a RIP look to the fact that I never got my hands on that Sailor Moon collection. And it sold out in like 5 minutes. So if everybody's wondering why I didn't get it, because I couldn't. I really don't have those powers. Unless I get on that PR list one day in my lifetime, I swear I would be able to have more product. But until then, I'm buying it just like everybody else. And I wasn't able to get it, which is so sad. I was so excited for that Sailor Moon launch. Alright, so I went ahead and took some Better Than Sex mascara in the travel size tube that you can get at Ulta. I like to use this just because the tip of it is very small. It's easy to get underneath and go ahead and elongate underneath the eyelashes. I don't even know, elongate? I guess that's what I'm going to call it. To make them longer, and you could just get underneath like you need to. You're just down in the grit of it all. So I use that to get my under eyes together. I typically don't use any mascara. As you guys know, I usually get my lashes done. There are some times where I let my lashes breathe and then I get a bigger tube just to create that. I really don't do eyelashes, period, but I just like to make them look even and dramatic, just as my top would. My bottom looks the same. Alright, so I went ahead and swept underneath my eyes the Pro Filter powder and just swept that underneath. Underneath the lash line, here I just used my Better Than Sex mascara. I usually get this at Ulta, and I like it because it's mini, of course, and it's travel size, but it also allows you to just get underneath and really like make your lashes longer and get it like where you want it, where it's not a mess. You have full range and full control, and that's my biggest thing about mascaras, is I want to be able to have that control and that range. Oh my god, my hair is trying to attack me right now. So get underneath that range to get what I need to be elongated, and it looks nice. So I personally like using this one. I'm just gonna blend this out a little bit. I feel like that's bothering me right now. Just blend that out a little bit more. Okay. All right, yeah, I like this look so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this color next, and I'm gonna use that on my like as blush. I'm gonna use it on my cheeks because I think it's a standout color. I absolutely love this color. It's not too burgundy, but it's also not red or anything. I really don't, it's not even a purple. I really don't know how to explain it. It's really cute though. I'm just gonna take it and add a little bit of color. I don't go as heavy on it. I just want it to look as natural as possible to create just kind of color on my cheek. I think it looks really pretty when people have a little bit of distinct color on their face. It's not just straight one color. It's giving you a story altogether. So I usually use this on my cheeks. I don't do anything too crazy. I don't use any creams or anything. I usually just use powders as much as possible, and I like using stuff from the actual palettes that I use. I personally don't even go out and look for blushes and different things like that. I personally use whatever I have on hand, just because I feel like palettes like that should just 100% be usable like that. I should be able to use this palette for blushes, for eyelashes, for, well, like for eyes, and be able to use it as liners. I believe that we're able to just create this look all together, especially when I'm traveling, because I personally love to travel. I would want something that is a universal palette that I could use and take, and not have to take 1,000 things with me to create a look I want over vacation. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to take is my Fenty Beauty Cocoa Miami bronzer. I absolutely love this bronzer. Bronzer is something that I just got into. It's not something that I've always done my whole entire life. I just now started doing contour, so I used to just go really heavy and hard on the contour, and lately I've been softening up on that because I pretty much like the way my face is pretty much shaped. I don't need to have to do too much. I don't need to have to. The more you know, the language, okay? Slow down. So the more that I have looked into the contour and shaping my face, the more I learned that I don't need to personally do that. I just take a little bit of bronzer and I just go where I want it to be a little bit more shaded or defined, and I just go in with that. I really don't even like to use too much contouring, because I think it just looks harsh kind of by the end of the night. Like, it just looks really not good. I just think it looks really bad. Like, it looks good during the day, but like, I personally like to wear it all day. Like, my makeup is pretty much all day affair, so by the end of it, it just doesn't, it looks too harsh, too dark, too harsh. All right, and I like to use a little bit at the top of my face, a little bit underneath my chin here, basically all around the key zones of my face. I like to use it, and then I personally like to move on to highlighter, but before I move into highlighter, I normally set my face. I found that to be a little bit more hydrating and let the highlighter stand out a little bit more. I honestly couldn't breathe. Like, why do I do that? I like hold my breath. I'm like, and I spray, and it's like by the end of it, I want to pass out when I do that. I don't know why I make myself do that, but I do. I do that when I do mascara too. I'm like holding my breath, like, I don't know why I do that. It's embarrassing. Stop doing that. So I'm just gonna let this dry down just a little bit. touch it up a little bit where it needs, but not too much. There we go. Now I'm going to add a little bit of highlighter to finish out the look, and then I'll move on to my lips. All right, so now I'm going to use my Happy Camper highlighter from ColourPop. Like, y'all know that this is busted and disgusted. I know. I need a new one. I keep saying it. Just girls gotta pay bills, okay? I'm just kidding. It's a $5 highlighter. I just honestly feel like I need to use the product until it's completely gone, and then I'll be panicking and buy like 10 more. So I just take a little bit of that on my highlighter brush, and I just go right above. I just put that on. Like, look at that. That really just, and it doesn't look chalky or anything. It just absolutely looks seamless. I like to beam to the gods. So the more highlighter, the closest to Jesus. That's how I feel. All right, so that looks really good so far. I'm really impressed with this look. I really didn't know that it was going to turn out like this. Honestly, I pray before I do these videos that this stuff is going to turn out right, because like I said, I don't play that much with color. This is just a learning opportunity for me. And it turned out to be pretty good. I'm very proud of myself. All right, so like, I'm not a seller, but if you don't have Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, like, what are you doing with your life? At this point, we are not friends, okay? This is the best cookie out there. I honestly don't mess with any other Girl Scout cookie out there. I think that this is the best one in the game. It's original OG. When I was little, I was like a drug pusher with these. I was like, y'all want some Thin Mints? I got them Thin Mints. Like, everybody in my town loved these Thin Mints. So go out and cop you a pair, because I've been snacking on these while doing videos and trying to figure out why I keep messing up. Sometimes I'm like, this look looks trash, and like, I'll just sit here and eat a cookie and just think about why do I do that? All right, so the next thing I'm gonna go in with is my lips, and we already know that I can't stay away from browns. I seriously have a problem. So today's gonna be another brown lip. Nobody's shocked. Literally nobody is shocked. So I'm gonna go in with my NYX Espresso liner, and I'm just gonna line my lips real quick. I absolutely love this liner. I keep raving about it. If y'all haven't got it, what you doing with your life? So I'm just gonna line my lips, and I'm just gonna shade them in a little bit, just a tiny bit, but leave a little bit open, because I like how it has that glossy look in the middle, like almost like a pink undertone with it when you leave a little space. And then you want to do the bottom the same. Just want to color it in. Definitely not all the way, just like slightly. So now I'm gonna take, which kind of brown lip do I want to do? Do I just want to go full brown lip, or do I want to do a gloss? I feel like everyone expects me to do a gloss, and I really don't want to let down the people at this point. I feel like everybody's like, you know, whatever. So I think I'm going to do a gloss. Alright, so I'm going to go in with my Fenty Beauty gloss in the shade Hot Chocolate. This shade right here. Beautiful on my lips. I absolutely love it. Like, look at that. Yes, ma'am. I'm like seriously popping off with like not even trying to pop off on these hoes out here. I'm just going off right now. Like, I can't even believe that my look turned out this good today. All right, yeah, that looks good. So I usually go in with that, and this was in their mini holiday collection that Rihanna had out, and it had this and I believe Glass Slipper and a couple of other ones, and I just bought the Hot Chocolate and Glass Slipper because honestly these two are all you need aesthetically for darker skin. Like, this is all you need. Honestly, this reminds me of that $2 beauty supply lips gloss that everyone carries around when they're little, and it's very tacky, and it keeps your, like, when you talk, like your mouth is like it's like pulling your teeth. What's it pulling your teeth for? It's like pulling your mouth, and this does not do that. It's very lightweight, very much an upgraded scale. These retail for about $19, and I know I'm like, $19, like what the hell am I buying that for? It works though. Like I can't, it's not drying out my lips, it's hydrating my lips throughout the day. It very much, the color payoff on it is beautiful, because sometimes I get these browns and I'm thinking it's gonna be a true brown, but it ends up being kind of like a sheer, like it looks brown but it just goes on pretty sheer. You don't really see like any brown undertones in it, and this one does. Like this one, it just goes on brown, and I love that about this. So it ties my lip together. Anyway, go out and get you guys some lip gloss. This is like very bomb. I absolutely love this lip gloss. It's something that everybody needs in their everyday makeup look. Like Rihanna, like slash Fenty is killing the game. Like, don't know what they're doing. No one ever knows what's coming up next. It's always something that's just like bam in your face, and I love every single product that she puts out. It's very much across the board put out to please everybody, and it's not rushed, and it's not, you know, everything's forced. It just happens, and I'm here for it every time. The packaging is beautiful. Like every time I get something from them, I'm like, this packaging is everything. That's the first thing I'm like, I feel like when I pay $19, it looks like I paid $19 for it. It looks good. Whatever money that I'm paying for Fenty, it just looks good. So I'm gonna wrap my video up, and I'll let you guys know a little bit of my thoughts about this palette, my do's and my don'ts on this palette. Well, not really my do's and my don'ts. More like my likes and my dislikes about this palette. If you guys like what you guys see, make sure you comment below, like, and subscribe. I am so happy about the outcome that happened on my last video. I'm really excited about my growth on this channel. So if you guys want more, just make sure you subscribe. And I'll be trying to post at least 2 times out of the week just to get my material out there. So thank you for all that support.